Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the board business meeting to order. It is Thursday, November 21st, 2024. If I have room, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We would also ask, after the pledge, if everyone would remain standing for a moment of silence. Colonial lost a member of its family this week. This is Celine Pileggi, who's been a first-grade teacher at Plymouth Elementary for over 7 years. Sadly passed earlier this week. We will be announcing the date and times for her services. We feel for the Plymouth community and the Colonial School District, and most importantly, the Pileggi family. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated.
The board met prior to this meeting to discuss the personnel report and a special education agreement. The meeting lasted approximately 30 minutes. And now on to the approval of minutes. This is a motion to approve minutes as presented in items 3B through 3G. May I have a second, please? Sharon? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. This is a motion to approve financial reports as presented in items 4B through 4M for October 2024. May I have a second? Gail? Any questions or comments? All in favor? This is a motion to approve the October 2024 Treasurer's Report. Rick? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. And now, is there any public comment on tonight's agenda? All right. Seeing none, I will turn the meeting over to Dr. Christian for his superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Petruto. Items 7A, 7B, and 7C, board action is requested for the recommended personnel changes. Appointments for promotion, employment, or transfer are subject to the presentation of valid credentials, employment verification documentation, and state mandated requirements. As added, I want to specifically mention one of the personnel items that was on there. Tonight, the board will be considering a motion to promote Rosemary Grigaitis, who is currently our Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, to the role of Assistant Superintendent. She has finished her letter of eligibility in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and is eligible to be a commissioned officer. She's done an excellent job in her current role. She's been a principal in our school and is a true leader and has been a wonderful addition to central office. One of her greatest strengths is her willingness to remain connected to all of our buildings as she leads the curriculum department. And so I'm proud to recommend to the board her promotion to Assistant Superintendent of Schools.
All right, thank you. May I have a second to that motion? Gail? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Great, thank you. Congratulations. So the big question, who will make the snow day calls?
As much as I'd love to pass that off, I will keep that one. Mr. Lally and Mr. McDonald do a great job. But maybe someday we'll share that responsibility.
Now, we would love to hear from our student representatives this evening.
Hi everyone, we're going to go over our November board report, starting with PW. It's a long one. First of all, winter sports are in session. The basketball, track, swimming, wrestling, cheer, and bowling teams have begun practice and are ready for strong seasons. On Friday, November 15th, students on the Principal's Leadership Council discussed topics related to school climate, courses, and scheduling with PW administrators. On Monday, November 4th, writers, photographers, and editors from the Town Crier and the Continental, two of PW's student publications, took a field trip to Columbia University in New York. They spent the day there attending the Columbia Scholastic Press Organization's annual journalism conference, learning about different aspects of journalism from professionals and getting some lunch in the city. Administration helped to fund the trip, and that's something that students are very grateful for. This year celebrates the 30th annual playing of Sleigh Ride. Directed by Mrs. Coffin, PW Band alumni are invited to come and play Sleigh Ride this year at the PW Winter Concert on December 12th at 7 p.m. Members of the National Honor Society, the National Junior Honor Society, the National Art Honor Society, and the National Music Society were all inducted last month. The PW Marching Colonials wrapped up their undefeated season recently, having won a multitude of outstanding awards. And finally, the Colonial players recently put on Shakespeare in Love and are beginning preparations for Matilda, the spring musical. So please wish the players luck. All right, Natalie?
Hi, I have the CMS report. CMS girls volleyball and girls tennis were honored with the NCAA Sportsmanship Award for the fall 2024 season. We're very proud of this recognition to go along with competitive success on the courts. Parent-teacher conferences are on November 25th and 26th. CMS held an in-service day on November 5th and would like to give a shout out to teachers Dan Bennett, Christine Gaetano, and Maureen Hagel for helping colleagues learn and grow. The Careers for Tomorrow Expo was held on October 22nd. Thank you to Mrs. Stingle and Mr. Leach for chaperoning. They also held a grade 7 building belonging field trip on October 14th through 17th at Camp America. Girls basketball season is underway and off to a great start. We're looking forward to boys basketball and wrestling starting soon. No Place for Hate continues to do an excellent job leading under the guidance of Mrs. Crum. On Monday, November 18th, Dr. Kaplan, Dr. Figueroa Douglas, and Mrs. Spivey attended a activity period session to hear directly from student leaders about their concerns and ideas for the future. Trimester 2 activity period will begin very shortly. And video announcements have returned to CMS. Every Monday morning, students and staff enjoy watching video morning announcements for everything from the pledge to athletics and arts recognitions, weather, the lunch menu, and more. Thanks, Mr. Herod, for leading this awesome initiative.
CES held its fall parade led by Principal Rock and Assistant Principal Tauber, followed by classroom parties. All 5th grade students went to the Museum of Illusions in October. The students thoroughly enjoyed their field trip. The Climate Committee is planning a No Place for Hate assembly on Monday, November 25th. And finally, CES held 2 social media assemblies in October, one for the students and one for the parents, titled Navigating the Digital Age. The focus of the assembly was the impact of social media and AI on student well-being.
Over at Plymouth, a wonderful fall festival parade was held on October 30th. Students had a delightful time parading in their festive costumes, and many parents, family members, and friends were present as spectators. Families were invited to return to their child's classroom to participate in an activity. It was great to see so many Plymouth families celebrating. We are looking forward to our Family Visitation Day during American Education Week. All families are invited to come and join their students for a portion of the instructional day. The 2nd grade concert, led by Mrs. O'Shea, took place on Friday, November 8th. The concert theme was Thankful for America and was a tribute to all servicemen and women and all first responders. The students and Mrs. O'Shea did a fantastic job.
Our local fire department and Tim McDonald joined Ridge Park Elementary for its monthly fire drill during Fire Prevention Month. Students and staff did an incredible job with both drills. Along with their local volunteer firefighters, retired Ridge Park teacher Donna Sturm hosted a fire safety assembly. Students were able to watch staff members get in and out of firefighter gear, as well as learn about being safe at home. And Mrs. Sharkey, school counselor, continues to visit classrooms. This month's focus was kindness. There is a large Throw Kindness Like Confetti bulletin board with student statements about how to show kindness.
Over at Conchi on Wednesday, November 6th, Ms. Levin's autistic support classroom walked to the police station in Conshohocken and learned about how the police provide safety to our community. On Friday, November 8th, CE students enjoyed an author visit with Mr. Mark Paulette, who wrote the children's book, Lily's Wonderful World. Conchi also hosted a very special Veterans Day breakfast on November 11th for our families who are or have served our country. Our third graders performed a selection of patriotic songs for our guests, and then veterans visited classrooms and spoke to students. Thank you to Mrs. Donovan and Mrs. Capello, who organized the Veterans Day breakfast, and Mrs. Walls for teaching our third graders patriotic songs. CE PTO meeting was held on November 13th. During this meeting, author Melissa Trempe shared her book Ladybug Launch with families, and Mrs. Amy Campbell shared how CE is using this book as part of our One Book, One School initiative. CSDEF board member as CSD retired teacher is Linda Colantonio spoke to parents about the foundation and how it supports our school district. We're still going. CE will celebrate American Education Week November 18th to 22nd and honor Colonial community member Mrs. Sandy Spitzer and her therapy dog Misty, who comes to CE. CE students are packing piggies full of loose change to make a donation over this week to support Alliance of Therapy Dogs. CE is excited to host the Concha Hawkins Senior Luncheon on Thursday, November 21st. Our third graders will serve our guests their Thanksgiving meal. Many thanks to the CE Helping Hands who made party favors for the guests.
And last but not least, we have White Marsh Elementary. White Marsh celebrated Veterans Day by honoring those who served their country with an event on Monday, November 11th. The school welcomed over 40 veterans to the building for an assembly where they were recognized and thanked for their service. After the assembly, the guests visited classrooms to meet students and discuss their stories of serving in the various branches of the military. They were then treated to lunch courtesy of Mission Barbecue. It was truly a special day for everyone involved. And before we wrap up our school report, I just would like to shout out Willie Warridge and Nirani Shaktinathan. Did I get it right? They're the two other junior board reps joining us this time. You guys met Miriam and Kennedy, but they're here for this meeting. So.
Thank you both. I just also want to thank our teachers, our support staff, the number of assemblies we've had from veterans, well, back the parades at the end of October, Veterans Day assemblies, programs that our music staff put together, and then this week, American Education Week. All the schools have been packed and engaged with our community. I think today, by way of example, I think at CES today, there were over 600 parents in attendance visiting classrooms. So, and all the schools have been very busy with that. So it's really been between our cheer team, our band winning, our athletic teams going far in districts, the concerts, it's been quite a busy fall. The campuses around all of our schools are, it's palpable, the feeling of excitement and energy, and I want to thank everybody for their hard work.
Thank you. Now we will move on to new business. Rick?
Motion to accept and approve the audit report for the 23-24 fiscal year as presented and approval to submit the PDE 2057 annual financial report to PDE.
May I have a second, please? Jeremy, any questions or comments?
Just want to say, being a clean audit report, that's very exciting news, so congratulations to Mr. Digian and the whole financial team.
Thank you. All in favor? Great, thank you. Rick?
Motion to approve the attached resolution to opt out of the Act 1 timeline by certifying the district will not raise the real estate tax in excess of the 25-26 Act 1 index of 4%. This motion also certifies that the school district will be unable to use Act 1 exceptions included in the law.
May I have a second, please? Will? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Will?
Motion to approve the administration's recommendation to fund the cost of the 2025-2026 district roofing projects with the surplus funds available from the CMS and CES renovation project.
Go ahead, sorry.
District roofing projects to commence July 1st, 2025, and include the kindergarten sections of Ridge Park Elementary and White Marsh Elementary, and a portion of Plymouth White Marsh High School.
Thank you. May I have a second? Sharon? Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Thank you.
Motion to approve the proposed budget for the PWHS Colonial Players 2024 fall production of Shakespeare in Love, and to authorize the payment specified compensation as submitted in the budget.
May I have a second, please? Gail? Any questions or comments? I just want to say it was a fantastic program, and the talent was just, it was amazing. So congratulations to everybody that was involved.
I second that.
All right, all in favor? Gail?
This is a motion to approve board policies outlined below on a second read basis as presented. Policy 103, discrimination, harassment affecting students. Policy 104, discrimination, harassment affecting staff. 323, tobacco, nicotine, and related delivery products. 704, maintenance, and 907, school visitors.
May I have a second, please? Rick? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Chris?
Motion to approve the board policies outlined below on a first read basis. The policies were reviewed at the Curriculum and CRSL committee meetings on November 11th, 2024. Policy 235, students' rights and responsibilities. Policy 815, acceptable use of internet, computers, and network resources. And policy 815.1, use of generative artificial intelligence in education. Now this one is a new policy, and PSBA recommended for legal liability purposes to ensure data privacy conditions.
May I have a second, please? Will? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you.
Motion to approve the deletion of board policy number 122 as the language cannot be found in board policy 907.
May I have a second, please? Sharon? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Sharon?
This is a motion to approve the courses outlined below for the 25-26 school year. These courses were, this is for Plymouth White Marsh High School, these courses were reviewed at the November 11th Curriculum Committee of the Board meeting. They are AP Pre-Calculus, ELD Horizons, English Language Development Horizons, and Spanish for Spanish speakers. The entire Plymouth White Marsh High School program of studies for the 25-26 school year will be approved at the January 16th meeting 2025.
May I have a second, please? Chris? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Great, thank you.
This is a motion to approve the conference requests outlined below. Both requests were reviewed at the Curriculum Committee meeting on November 11th. Beth Lynch to attend Beacon College Counselor Fly-In in Leesburg, Florida from November 21st through the 23rd. And Rich Medell to attend the Northeast Conference on the Teaching of Foreign Languages 2025 in New York City from February 28th through March 1st, 2025.
May I have a second to that motion? Chris? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Chris?
Motion to approve the educational services contract outlined below. Bancroft, educational services for one student at $1,288 per day, and transportation reimbursement to parents at current IRS mileage rate.
May I have a second, please? Sharon? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. And Chris?
Motion to approve the establishment and management of a compensatory education fund for legitimate educational expenses. Due to student confidentiality, this agreement was discussed in executive session.
May I have a second, please? Gail? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you. Is there a solicitor's report this evening?
I'm sorry.
No solicitor's report this evening.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to committee reports. Chris? did you
Sure.
have-
The CRSL Safety and Wellness Committee met last week, and the Resolve rooms are fully staffed and up and running at both CMS and PW. The feedback on this program is positive, and The initiative is meant to help students resolve conflicts by equipping them with the skills and tools they need to peacefully solve programs. It's been so successful that we expanded the program from just having it at the middle school to now having it at both CMS and Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. So I think that's just a great program. And that's my report.
Great, thank you. Sharon, curriculum?
Again, at the recent curriculum committee of the board meeting on November 11th, Mrs. Vergaitis and her team put forth the 3 Plymouth Whitemarsh High School course proposals that we just reviewed and approved. We also had the opportunity to hear from teachers Becky Duffy and Josh Reinstein, who presented a very engaging and interactive presentation related to artificial intelligence, AI, focusing on its impact in teaching, in learning, and the pathway that Colonial School District will explore moving forward. We also did a first review of 2 policies. So policy 815, which would be acceptable use of internet, computers, and network resources. It's an active policy with updated language recommended from PSBA. And policy 815.1, use of generative AI intelligence in education, which would be a new policy with recommended language from PSBA. And then we also reviewed the conference request that, again, we just approved.
Great, thank you. Will, anything for facilities?
Yes, FMT committee met on the 4th of November. At that time, Mr. Lowry reviewed the progress of the CES renovation project, which continues to go well. Classrooms are being framed out, and the main lobby is complete and fully functional. Other than that, he just talked about the roofing plan, which we just approved. That's it.
Great, thank you so much. Rick?
The Finance Committee met on Monday, November 4th. The committee discussed the 2024 audit report, the fall production budget, and the 24-25 year-to-date budget update. The audit was a sneak peek of the clean audit we got, so once again, congratulations to the whole team. Also discussed was the proposal to opt out of the Act 1 index just voted on, limiting any potential tax increase to below the threshold, and a timeline for the 25-26 budget process.
Great, thank you. Gail, anything for HR?
Yes, so the HR committee met on Monday, November 4th, and Michelle and Andrea did a presentation for us around wellness incentives, retirement seminars, and EAP, and just a couple of highlights for each of those areas. There were lots of incentives that were discussed for staff. The retirement seminars, there was one in the fall, I believe it was October 29th, and then there will be another one in the spring. And then our EAP, which is good to hear that it's free for all employees. So those are a couple of highlights from the HR meeting.
Great, thank you. Chris, for the tech school?
Sure. This week at CMTHS is Spirit Week, so there's been different activities each day. And then also they are participating in Preston and Steve's Camp Out for Hunger, which benefits Phil Abundance, and they'll be collecting food for their food drive now through December the 3rd.
Great, thank you. Mark, anything for the intermediate unit?
Nothing to share.
Thank you. Sharon, anything legislative?
I think it's just notable to report that the Pennsylvania Department of Education, PDE, has rescinded Pennsylvania School District's obligation to implement culturally relevant and sustaining education program framework guidelines. However, in short, PDE does still encourage, but does not require implementation. So I just wanted to note that.
Okay, thank you. Any community liaison reports?
Nothing for Plymouth.
Gail, anything for the foundation?
Yes, just a couple of items. So we're currently in the annual campaign, which ends on December 31st. So looking to raise a minimum of $10,000 for which First Trust will match. And then our 5K is going to be on April 6th. So more details to come. You can find it on the website. One of the student reports mentioned about the CSD EF going to the school PTO meeting at one of the elementary schools. We're also have attended all of the schools, the PTO meetings to date.
Thank you. Attached to tonight's agenda for your information are the school activity accounts for CMS and PW, the athletic accounts for CMS and PW, building reports, curriculum, instruction, and assessment reports, and a technology report. And now, is there any public comment? All right, seeing none, is there any board comment this evening?
Just that I would wish everybody a happy and healthy Thanksgiving and safe travels to anybody who's traveling.
Yes, absolutely. All right, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.